So we're sitting here with Glen this morning, and Glen's been living in Pedasí for a while now. We're going to find out a little bit more about Glen, why Glen's here, what brought Glen to his decisions, all that type of stuff. So, Glen, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself, where did you move from before you moved to Pedasí?
I moved from Muskoka, Ontario, Canada.
Okay.
Came here about 15 years ago with my daughter and my son. Stayed in Banao, and this seemed to be a very good retirement opportunity for me. So I rented a car and traveled around, and I just kept coming back to Pedasí. I just found that the people were so kind, so welcoming, just such wonderful people. They helped in every way they could. Obviously, there was language barriers, but we managed to get through that. But just Pedasí is just such a wonderful area.
So how long ago did you make the final move to come here permanently?
The final move was about 5.5 years ago. I came here, rented for a year, just so I could get a real handle on where I wanted to build and be. Pedasí was still on the top of my list. I did many other areas and liked them. Panama is just such a wide, diverse country, but Pedasí was just the place I wanted to be. The rainfall is less than half that it is anywhere else in Panama. The fishing's great.
Rainfall's not so less today, but
not so less today, but you know, it's all good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's rainy season. It grows things.
So before you came to Panama, what did you do in your previous life? What was your background? What were you doing in Canada before you moved here?
Before I moved here, I was the general manager for 3 of the largest marinas in Ontario. And previous to that, I was an architect working with some of the higher end Muskoka clientele, advising, designing, you know, helping them do that sort of thing, and still did that through my marine business days, but nevertheless, that's where I was for 40 some odd years, is in the general management of the marine business.
So now that you're here, are you fully retired, or are you still doing stuff to stay busy in work?
I still do stuff to stay busy. It's somewhat of a money kind of thing, because everybody loves money and everybody loves to spend money, but it's not a primary focus. You know, a couple of days a week I help some local expats out that, you know, have problems with translations and stuff like that, and I give them some advice and help them out with, you know, various different projects they've got on the go. So it keeps my mind active and keeps my body active.
So you had all of Panama to look at.
Yes.
But you chose Pedasí.
Yes.
What made you choose Pedasí overall? You talked a little bit about that in your intro, but get a little bit more specific, you can. What made you choose Pedasí over everywhere else?
I think the number one is because I was born and raised in Ontario, in smaller remote towns, you know, towns of 10,000 or less. My children were raised in those towns as well. So I was used to my quiet, used to my own space. Never had the outlying areas that Pedasí provides, like the jungle, like the growth of the plants, the animals. I have howler monkeys in my backyard. Just different things like that Panama, Pedasí area provides that you don't get in a lot of the other areas.
What, you know, living where you were and doing everything you did, what sparked your idea of when you got out of like working full time? What sparked your idea of moving to a different country, moving abroad?
Maybe just luck more than good sense, but I could see the world changing over the course of my years, and I just didn't see good things, happening in North America. Maybe not bad things, but things that just didn't make me comfortable. And after visiting Pedasí, spending a month and change here, it's a totally different way of life. Totally different because of the fact that you can kick back and relax. There's a lot of expat communities. A lot of the expats get together and go out for dinners and get together and go to the beach and fishing, and golfing's not far away. All of those sorts of things are here. But it's all a sedate, relaxed, kick-back way. So mindset-wise, it took me probably the best part of 2 years to mindset from North America mindsets, go, 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 rush, 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 to the sedate, relaxed way that this Pedasí area is. And that was really difficult to do, because changing your mind of 60 plus years in North America and coming to this area to be able to sedate and relax, and something's going to be, I want it done today. This is Pedasí. This is not going to happen today. So you've got to get into that mindset that you're not in a rush. You're here to relax. You're here to enjoy. If something can't be done today, guess what? It'll be done tomorrow or the next day. It's fine. And so that process took all of the stress out of my life, because I was in a very high-end, multi-million dollar, billion-dollar business, and it was just total stress all the time. 7 days a week, 16 hours a day, in the season, 120 plus employees. It was stressful. And here, I don't have 120 employees. I don't have the stress that needs to be done tomorrow. The customer wants his boat tomorrow. Well, I don't make the parts. I apologize. And so you get the same understanding here. They don't make the products. If you can't get it and supply them with the products, you can't expect them to install it. So you just have to kind of sedate. You have to relax. You have to enjoy. And guess what? If those times come up, guess where you go? You go to the beach. You go fishing. You go shopping in Las Tablas, Chitre, Coronado, Panama, Santiago. There's all kinds of places that you can go and spend like a one-day excursion if something can't happen to your wishes. And there are very, very many, and I still have a lot to go to, particularly San Blas.
Yep.
A lot of people, expats particularly here, not many of them have been that far up to San Blas.
So backing up a little bit, going to your history still, and going a little bit more macro, why Panama out of all the other choices in the world? People go to Portugal and Mexico and Spain and Costa Rica. Why Panama?
Quite frankly, it was a decision that I left to my daughter and my son. We were coming away together after my divorce 15, 16 years ago. And I said, okay, but what it has to be, it's got to be a choice of yours. It's got to be a place that I have never been. And I've been around the world. I taught scuba diving for 40 years, so I've been to every island in the Caribbean teaching diving, all throughout Mexico's and all the Caribbean islands. I've been to Asia scuba diving.
This is something I didn't know about you, so I'm learning stuff. I've known you for a couple years now, and I'm learning something right here now.
And so I was an instructor. So I took a month off from the marine business because of its intensity, and I took a group of divers that we taught in Ontario to various different locations where it was warmer, and did scuba diving. Did a lot of underwater photography, and took pictures of all my students and all the beautiful underwater aquatic life. But I told my children, I cannot go to a place. I'm looking for some place to retire, someplace really nice. And so they did a lot of research, very smart children. And I said, I did hear from one friend of mine that he'd been to Panama years ago, in the city of Panama, and really enjoyed it. Really found the culture, things to do, but I'm not into cities. So I said, you've got to choose a spot outside the cities. And my son said, well, geez, I hear surfing is really good there. So that's why Vinal became our focus to stay for a month, and then rented a car and just traveled all throughout Panama to all the different places that the majority of expats go to. And I really enjoyed all of them. But Pedasí, I just came back to and back to and back to.
So that brings me to my next question. Did you know anybody here before you came, or did you come in completely solo?
Not a soul.
Yeah. How did you find that coming in alone, like not alone, but coming in by yourself? How did you find that coming into the community?
Moving here by myself?
Yeah. Like, how did you find the community? Welcoming, or how did you manage when you first came?
Totally welcoming. As I said, I rented a house for 1 year during the process of my design and building out in the Punta Mala area. And just traveling the area, checking out some different real estate, some lots, because I'm an architect. I wanted to build my own place. And the people were just fabulous. I rented from this lady in town, beautiful location, central in town, quiet, just off the beaten path enough that I felt remote, like I was born and raised in. And then just did my traveling and met some people and found some people that were in real estate and selling properties and things. And I bought a piece of property out in the Punta Mala area, and it was probably one of the better things that I had done.
Okay.
It's quiet out there. There's a really nice 32 lots, and a lot of them are being built on now. The community out there is great. They're from all around the United States. They're just from around the world, and so it makes it really neat. And they're into the same kind of situation. They wanted something just a little bit off the beaten path from the in-town kind of stuff. They wanted something a little more remote, and tons of howler monkeys in your backyard, and do your own gardening. They grow banana trees. I grow all my own pineapples. I grow all my own papaya. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's just something.
Before you came, what were your expectations of here, and how were what you expected of Panama and Pedasí to be different than reality?
I didn't really have any expectations because I had been to so many different places, so many different cultures, so many different, Bohemian Islands and Mexico's and, those sorts of cultures. So there really wasn't an expectation. My expectation was more climate, fishing, surfing, those sorts of things. And I don't surf a lot. I'm not very good at it. Actually, I'm terrible at it. But I just like being out in the ocean. You don't need to stand up and surf the big waves because there's a lot of areas that don't have that. Just get out and paddle around on a board. Stand up on a board and paddleboard. Those sorts of things are available here. And that's all I wanted. I wanted something going into my retirement that I could just hang and do and enjoy.
Stay active.
Stay active.
Yeah, that's important.
And there's lots of expats I meet all the time. We do the dinner thing. We get together. We party together. We do barbecues together. So there's just, it's such a beautiful community here, but there's not thousands and thousands of people, which is not my thing.
Right.
You can get into some more of the areas north, like the Coronados and the Boquetes and places like that. Beautiful, beautiful places. But they're specific to people that want that active people everywhere kind of thing. The shoulder-to-shoulder walk that you do in New York City and Toronto's and those places. And I didn't want that. I wanted what was being provided here in Pedasí. I think the population here now is like 4,000. It's beautiful. You know, out of that 4,000, there might be 1,000, 1,500 expats. So that's just enough people that you can mingle with, get to be really good friends with, go shopping with, lunches with, fishing with, hang on the beach with, work with the community and do, you know, various different activities to help the locals out that aren't so well-to-do. And so it's all part of being and it keeps you busy. It's all part of being an expat.
How much has finance, cost of living, money, how much has that played into your ability to be here? Like, as far as, do you find it cheaper to be here? Do you find it more expensive to be here? Is it easier because it's less than staying back home, or how does that affect your life?
So being on a fixed income, and of course, a lot of us retired people, you know, whether it be from Canada, whether it be from the United States, your social securities, your pensions in Canada, they're terrible. You can't even afford to pay rent with the monies that you get from that unless you've got a really good stash of hundreds of thousands to last you for your retirement years. I can live here on my pension and have some left over for fund money. The little bits of work that I do, that provides me with more fun money. I can go out on excursions to San Blas, I can go to Boquete, I can go to Coronado, you know, those kind of day trips sort of things. As far as cost of living goes, it is probably, as a wild guess, I would say probably 40% less than you'd find in Canada and the United States. The hospitalization, the doctors here are fabulous. I've had experiences in Panama City at the larger hospitals. I have a doctor here in Pedasí, and they're just remarkable. Very well educated. Most speak English because they've been educated in the North American doctorate schools. Cost of food and those sorts of things are very inexpensive. Some less than half of what you would pay for it in the United States and Canada. I think that the primary focus on, not only is the cost very important to me, I'm a diabetic, and so I need to eat properly all the time, along with insulin injections and those sorts of things. So it's very important for me to have that, and that was part of the research I did when I came here. None of the foods, whether it be the chicken, the pork, the beefs, your eggs, is hormonally driven for growth. So the chickens are smaller here, but the taste is way different than you'll find in North America. All of your fruits and vegetables, they're not fertilized, they're not hormonized. They're what I would classify as organic. And they come to Pedasí twice, 3 times a week. So you always have fresh fruit and vegetables, very inexpensive. A papaya you can buy for $1.50. Whereas in the States and Canada, you're paying $8, $9, $10. Pineapples, $1 to $3. In Canada, same difference, $9, $10. So the fruit end of it is very cheap, and you can get lots of it. Gardening, there's all kinds of plants. I've got plants all around my property, inside my house. They're anywhere from $10 to $15, where you'd pay $70 or $80 for that same plant in North America. So everything from that respect is very inexpensive. A doctor visit for a senior is $17.50.
With a jubilado discount. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
with
a retirement discount.
retirement
Yeah,
discount,
retirement,
correct.
I see.
An injection that would cost you $70, $80, $90, $100 in Canada is $10 here. Blood work here, I think the last one was like $30 for me because I have to do my blood test for diabetes. In Canada, it would be around the $300 to $400 mark. So there's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
You can pay out of pocket for any medical thing that you need. It's just not a crazy expensive thing.
It's
Insurance
doable.
is a good thing. It's doable. If you've got that extra stash of money somewhere and you want to do that, I advise it. But I pay out of pocket, and I've been here just 5.5 years, and I've had no issues.
How have you found your adaptation with culture, language, climate, those major things that affect our everyday life? How have you adapted, good, bad, your struggles, your successes to those three major things, which is culture, language, and climate?
I don't know whether you could classify them as struggles because I'm Canadian. I'm living in somebody else's country. This is their country. This is Panama. And so I entered into it as a challenge. And I use Google Translate. My Spanish is okay. It's not good, but it's okay. I can get by. And I use Google Translate. Sometimes that's challenging because in Panama, it's my understanding there's about 20 different dialects of Spanish in this country. So even some of the Panamanians have hard times working with each other. But you know what? It's a challenge, and I can get by. I can get through it.
What about
No
culture?
problem.
What about cultural challenges? How have you adapted to some of the cultural differences from Canada to here? Or how have you embraced the differences? I guess is even a better question.
Embrace the difference would be classified to me as, again, going back to, this is Panama, this is their country, and I moved from another country to here. So I put every effort into everything that I do when I'm working with the Panamanians. And I work with a lot of them here. And they're just such wonderful people because they have things to share. And I have things to share because I bring the technologies and the mindsets of the cultures of North America, which they don't have here. And they have the ability to do different things here, building, landscaping, all those sorts of things that we're not used to. It's a different country. And so we work back and forth together, and we have a lot of laughs. We have a lot of laughs because they will say something and I'll translate it and they'll look at me and they'll shake their head and they, what? And I will do the same. So it ends up being kind of a laughing contest. What the heck did you just say? And so again, it's a challenge. It's an opportunity to do better.
Thinking back 5.5 years ago when you first came, everybody always seems to find the first 6 months or a year the hardest to settle in.
Absolutely.
What advice now, as a veteran, what advice would you give new people coming to get through that first 6 months and to get through that first year?
I would suggest, and I did, to go through the Duolingos and the Spanish for Dummies and those sorts of things, just to get some of the basics before you come. And then when you come here, there's a lot of people that you can go to and get Spanish lessons from. That helps reduce the challenges. But I think the real opportunity for expats coming to get into the flow is to mingle with the locals. Go to the bakeries, go to the restaurants, go to the grocery stores, talk to the people. A lot of them can speak a bit of English, but they'll help you through all of the processes of buying things and what to look for. And if you need something, ask. Because if they don't have, they can tell you where to get it. the building process. They'll advise you on products that work here better than they will in any other country.
When in Rome. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Over your years here, when you first came and over your years here, have you had any major obstacles with bureaucracy, paperwork, all those types of things? We hear a lot of stories. Have you had any issues, or if you've had issues, how have you overcome those issues?
The bureaucracy, no. I've had no issues. But I think it's because I was here for a while before I got into that kind of segment of living here. And I was very fortunate. Before I came here, I found a lawyer through the people that I rented my place in Pedasí from, and she suggested, check this guy out. And we hit it off. He spoke English, he spoke Spanish. He gave me all the do's and the don'ts. He helped me get my driver's license, helped me get my bank account, all that kind of stuff, or shared with me people that can help me do that kind of stuff. And there's lots of lawyers in town that can do that kind of stuff for you. There's half a dozen or more. So that really pulled the bureaucracy out of the situation. Buying my land, it's just not the bureaucracy of North America. It's like a walk in the park. I want that piece of land. You exchange the money after your lawyer has researched that there's a title on it, which I highly recommend. And then they do all the paperwork and stuff at a very, very low cost. And within probably a week, by the time the registration was done in Panama City, I had a piece of paper in my hand and I owned the land, it was paid for, and I could start drilling wells and clearing the lot and all that kind of stuff. So that was a real easy thing to do. As far as becoming a pensiado, getting a visa here, there's several different visas that you can get depending on what you want to do, but the lawyer will advise you what to do and costs involved and those sorts of things. And that was a very easy thing. You just need to get a few various different items from Homeland, fingerprints and those sorts of things. And then once all of that's done, it takes them about, I'm going to say 6 months, so that you get your pensiado visa, which is a temporary, it's like 5-year, and then you get your cedula. And your cedula is your permanent resident card, which will last you 10 years. And then you pay $30, go to an office, pay $30, and get another one for 10 years. So it's not that drawn out paperwork process. I have family that's trying to get a passport in Canada, and I do understand. I get they're trying to put a curb on immigrations and those sorts of things, but it is a process, huge process. It does not happen overnight. Here, it's easy.
So you've been here quite a while now, how has here influenced and changed you as a person?
I would say, number one, because I'm a diabetic, stress and diabetes do not work well together. It's terrible. So after moving here, 6 months later, I had no stress. So my diabetes, and I send my blood work back to my doctors in Canada, they just said, I don't know what you've done. You got to continue doing that. And today, 5.5 years later, I am taking half the amount of insulin that I used to take when I was in North America. So between reduction of stress, eating proper foods, exercising, I walk, I swim in my pool 2-3 times a day, lots of exercise. My life changed, like totally changed. And I would recommend this, whether someone has health issues or not, this is the place you need to be. There is no stress here.
5.5 years in, what challenges do you still face daily as an expat?
That's a very good question. I would say my biggest challenge is to decide what I'm going to do next. Am I going to go to the beach this afternoon? Nah, you know what? I really want to go fishing today. It's more of, you're not going by schedule. You don't get up at 8 o'clock in the morning by an alarm and 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock. You don't go to bed at 10 o'clock at night if there's a good movie on. You watch the movie. So what? You sleep in a little bit in the morning. So what? There's nobody there to bust you. You don't have time schedules to go to the doctor's office. You go to the doctor's office, you sit and you chat with a bunch of the expats or a bunch of the locals, and you wait till it's your turn. And usually it's only a 15, 20, 30 minute wait at most. So there's no schedules. You know what? I need a loaf of bread today. Let's go to town. I'll go and get a loaf of bread. We'll talk to a bunch of the locals. Walk around. Enjoy it. Go to the beach.
So here's the big question. If you could do it all over again, would you do the same thing again?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's definitive. Good.
all
Yeah.
of the people that I talk to, friends that have been here, visited and stuff like that, said, I don't know how you ever came up with this place. I'm sure it was through a lot of research and whatever. But you really didn't have anybody local that you could talk to help you out. You had to do it on your own. And we're here now, and I've got at least half a dozen that are in the process of getting into the retirement thing and just saying, you know what, we can't afford to live in North America anymore. We don't like it here anymore. The bureaucracy here is terrible. The waits at hospitals is just ridiculous. There's just too much. As you retire, you lose your sense of humor, maybe? Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. But here, you don't have to.
What's your long-term plan? You're going to stay here? You're going to move back home one day eventually? Go to a different country? Like, what's your long-term plan, Glen?
No, I've been to so many different countries that that is off a list. I've been to so many. I don't think I won't find anything like this. This is home for me. I visit Canada once a year, or twice a year, whatever I can pull off financially. And I enjoy my friends and my family. It's nice to visit back there, but Northern Ontario, it's cold. You know, I've gotten used to this beautiful climate here. It's between 82 and 86 degrees
I went to the Muskokas last year and I was freezing to death at 18 degrees Celsius.
I know. I had a jacket on the whole time I was there.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Yeah.
We wanted to go golfing. And I said, I'm not wearing gloves. And they do. They wear gloves when they go golfing in the spring of the year. I'm not into that.
So summarizing up this visit and this chat, if you had to give a newcomer to Pedasí the most solid advice you could give, what would you give as the most solid advice as somebody looking at coming to Pedasí, looking at moving to Pedasí as now a 5.5 year veteran here plus history before that? What would you advise people to do before they come?
My advice would be pretty similar to what I did. I just found that it was a really beautiful combination of events that I went through, and 5.5 years later, I'm a pretty happy guy. Number one is to come here if you've never been before. Come for a couple-week holiday. First thing to do would be to find an area that you really, really like. I don't think you're going to find a better place than the Pedasí area. More power to you if you do, but I don't think you will. I've done it. The second thing to do is to find, after you've returned home and regurgitated all of that information a bit, do some research. Be careful what you read online though, because there is a lot of goofy stuff. Go by your gut. What do you feel? And if 3 to 5 say the same thing, then guess what? Those 3 people are probably right.
Yeah, read between the lines.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nextly, as you get closer to retirement or coming here, I would highly recommend coming here and renting a place. I did for a year, but I knew I was going to build because I'm an architect and I want to own my own home. I want to build my own home. Whether I buy land, through real estate, or you want a turnkey property, which I highly recommend to do because I'm an architect and I can handle all of the differences in Panamanian building and what I need and want and those sorts of things. So you need someone that can help you through that process. Buying a home here, there's lots of wonderful people around as yourself that can advise based on your needs. So find a place, a turnkey. But if you can't find a turnkey, don't be disgusted because that's not always possible. You're in a different country. There's lots of people around that can guide you through and add a swimming pool, add a spare bedroom, put new windows, a new door, whatever you need, new countertops, new tile on your floor, whatever. I mean, lots of that can be done here locally, and they're very, very good at it. So rent for a little while until they meet wonderful people like yourself that can find out your needs, take you and show you a couple of properties, and maybe the first one you come to, because Ken's a very smart guy, he's going to say, guess what? I think this might work for you. And you might take a look at one place and say, wow, this is the area I want to be in, this is what I need, and buy it. Might take you a couple months, but it'll happen quickly because he seeks and finds what you want and need before you go out and do a tour of a whole bunch of places that are not even close to what you need or want.
Yeah.
That's not good for him, that's not good for you.
Good, solid advice, my friend. So, Glen, thanks for sharing your experience and your insight
welcome.
and your history and your years of being here. I think guys like you that have been here for a while and have gone through the paces is some of the best advice that can go towards newcomers and all that type of stuff. So, really appreciate it. I'm sure the people watching this really, really appreciate it as well. So,
And
thank you very much.
Come
sir.
and visit.
Indeed.